Jiu Niangzi. I saw her turn into a Lushu. Madam, she turned into a real Lushu.
Yenisei, you're human. You're actually human. Man, I hope she's okay. I hope this wasn't a sacrifice, but people think that she made it to the other side, so I'm hoping she's fine. So you really have to get to the other side for your wishes to be heard. Therefore, it makes sense that after the bridge was broken, people's wishes just wouldn't come to reality. Part 22. Ask and acquire. Finally! And so the river flowed. I'm hoping we get to finally see that power and understand it. But something tells me from the picture we see here in the back that they probably won't learn anything more and they'll just leave. In a way, Besmet did experience the ask and acquire, but I don't think she got as many details as she would have liked about it. Let's see.
Previously, we were at...
陆蛇, the Shuori came to the human world to go through the God's test, but she repented.
Exactly. She had been troubled by the repentance until the New Year's Eve. That night, her tutor straightened her out, and she was very grateful. After that, she bid him goodbye and went to the broken bridge alone.
Troubled by the repentance. Yeah, I still think that perhaps what she went through was a test to become a good Shangri. And perhaps none of what the Taoist told her was actually true, that perhaps her mother was waiting on the other side for her.
However, ladies and gentlemen, the Shuori this year happened to be the beginning of spring. Such a coincidence happens only once every 100 years. On this particular day, the thunderstorm was raging, and all the strangest things happened. The cliff was shrouded in confusing fog, and below was a bottomless abyss. No one had ever jumped over the bridge successfully. Yet, the Lushu decided to make an attempt, for the sake of the people who believed in her. She was determined to retrieve the tortoiseshell divination.
That's not it. She used the wooden chip, not the tortoise shell.
You've told this story for many times and still getting it wrong? You have to admit you're not young anymore.
Well, there's no such thing as a perfect story. Adaptations are always allowed, right? Please, pretend you didn't hear me and forget about it.
Give me a break. He's telling that story again? I thought he'd be done with it after last time. I even bought a ticket.
Last time? When? Last year? Did you sleep for a whole year?
I hear you, gentleman in blue.
Now he's listening.
You know, you are part of the story, just like me.
Me? What do you mean?
Listen and you'll know. So, the Lushu jumped over the bridge, awakened the Yuan Temple, and revived the Peilin River. As a result, more and more people come to the Pei City at festivals. So I start telling stories again. As for you, the Lushu took over your tavern and turned you into her kind because you were an unscrupulous profiteer. You gave short weight to the people. That caused the decline of your business. Yet, you blamed it on the poor harvest. But I think the Lushu saved you from the plight. She ran the tavern for you, and you had a good sleep during that time. In a word, you did nothing good. But things ended up well for you.
Wait, didn't Jiu Niangzi accidentally turn the dude that took over the tavern after Miss Shu to a Lushu? She didn't on purpose? Because she turned and was looking for him, and she found the horse and petted it, and didn't seem to put two and two together there. I thought she really believed that that horse somehow got in, and the other dude ran away.
What? No way! I want that too. If only somebody could finish my essay when I fall asleep.
Already writing a political essay at this age? You have a promising future, young man. But I think you should go home now and get some sleep. You need to rest well so you can continue with your studies tomorrow. After all, the essay matters much more than the story, right?
Amidst the festive hustle and bustle, a farewell brews in front of the city gates. This is a place from which people come and people go.
I have so many things to write about this time. Enough for me to write a travel note. What should I call it? Travel in the East? Journey to Pei City?
Probably the second one.
Neither of them sounds good.
How about the notes on Shuori? Basically, it's Shuori. Didn't they call it Shuori? I think it was so, not Shuori. I've been saying it wrong the whole time.
There are already too many travels and journeys. I think you are different from those authors, madam. So...
Gutian escorts the group to a spot near the city gate where the road splits into two. On one side lies a road up the mountain, and on the other lies the road down. He slowly descends to the ground, standing still, stiff and slightly uncomfortable. The human companions of the two arcanists retreat in caution and fear from the strange bird creature.
Indeed. Unlike others, the two of you have experienced it in its entirety.
What do you mean?
There was a beginning, and now here is an end. Forget not where you came from at the end. This is the entirety. Thus, happiness is found.
Can I add a little detail irrelevant to the story, but I've been noticing it and I didn't mention it. I love how they've made everything on the upper hem of his clothes with little X's and gold, so that when he breathes, it looks like it's glittering. I'm guessing this doesn't happen much if I had it in full HD, but I don't have it in full HD right now, so perhaps this is why it happens. But it looks really cool as an effect.
I'm sorry that I still don't understand your riddles.
That's no matter.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can we go? I really want to go home right away.
Ah, then we shall.
Please wait. There's one more thing.
Will you tell us about Besmet's bones?
Certainly. Please.
The questions you asked, have you had the answers?
I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
When Jiu Niangzi jumped over the bridge, Yenisei saw a pattern being formed where I wrote my question. We didn't understand it. It didn't bother us either. Perhaps because there was no answer to my question.
A question is asked, and a divination is made. What you saw might be a hexagram, not the interpretation of it. Do you still remember what it looks like?
Yenisei thinks for a moment and uses a rock hammer handle to draw crooked and twisted lines in the sand, with occasional breaks in the middle of them.
It changed a little, and ended up like this.
The hexagram of water and fire. I'd assume this belongs to an elderly person. What about yours?
Yenisei stands for a moment, then draws a few more lines. By the end of it, her offering is already rather messy, so much so that she stretches out a section of it. Fortunately, Gutian can still read it.
This is Xu, the hexagram of waiting. Though I don't know what could be derived from it. The interpretation is simple. Above is water, the stranding dragon, advising patience. Below is uprightness, which means you will smooth away the obstacles.
Which means...
But you'll have to wait for your water to appear, because your question was, where is my water?
You will find your water. All you need to do is wait.
I'm good. I mean, it's obvious,
Yes,
but...
thank you. I didn't know that.
Listen, I have the same problem. Many times I have questions about when is this going to happen, when is that going to happen, and the answer is always either work harder or wait. It's kind of annoying, actually. Nobody ever gives you the answers.
As for your hexagram, you have gone across the river. A decision has been made.
I see.
But what did you ask for?
Turns out the divination doesn't help at all.
Yeah.
It does, if you believe in it.
Oh, please. We used to say that bullshit to people who went to Bithia in the past. Like, we don't know that divinations give you either a vague answer or one that actually doesn't help you. And then they tell you, okay, you have to believe in it and it's going to work. Obviously, if you wait, at some point, something is going to happen. Or if you work hard, something is going to happen. But, like, it's not because you believe in it. It's because you just don't know what else to do. I can't. This is why I hate anything that has to do with divination. Like, okay, I believe in energies and all. I believe that some people have foresight and can help you see some things in the future if you want. But the whole idea of divination that they did in the past, and even today, I think some religions still do it, I think. That you expect an answer from the divine and the things they give you are not good enough for me. I'm sorry.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but we don't. Please explain.
It is exactly how I expected it to be. Thank you, Mr. Gutian.
No need.
And what about you? Have you learned your answer?
It told me to let things be. Since I have left the mountain, I should follow what's inside my mind.
Gutian turns his head and points his wings toward the path up the mountain.
I remember that at the end of the Peiling River, where the lanterns float, stands a great building. It might be real or illusional. I have seen it many times, yet I have never thought of going there.
The two of them look in the direction pointed out by Gutian, only seeing the jungle into which Jiu Niangzi disappeared, and nothing more.
There's nothing there.
I will go anyway.
Yeah, man, explore.
Then, what about Jiu Niangzi? She jumped over the bridge. Is she never coming back?
Gutian doesn't answer, he only shakes his head, while Yenisei can do his glance over to Gutian filled with unspoken inquiries. Besmer turns toward the distant cliffs and jungle, standing without speaking for a long while, until at last she breaks the silence.
Perhaps we will meet again, one day.
Man, it doesn't make sense. She's playable, so she should come back. We will meet again, part 23. Until we meet again, in another time, in another place. Oh, here it says we will meet again, not until we meet again. The party journeys along the river for a long time, but the night never falls. Most of them are in a hurry to leave, the same desire as before, but now much stronger than ever before, more than enough to bring the long-awaited harmony of a common purpose to the team. And no one dares mention their experiences for the rest of the trip.
Let's make camp after we get out of the forest. What do you say?
I'm fine with it. How are you feeling, Mr. Jurian?
I'm fine with that.
A few still harbor a lingering curiosity when they endure for a long time, and until unable to resist, they turn around to see if the ancient city on the mountainside is still in sight. But while this is not a story where those who look back might turn into Pele's assault, there remains no trace of a strange city that should have still been in view. And as they walk onward, the revived river known as the Peiling too has changed its appearance.
Madam, the river!
The once wide river invisibly splits into slender tributaries behind them, spread across the lush spring meadows like a rope net. Even if they wanted to find it, they might never distinguish the one that would lead them back.
What is it?
The compass is working. Great!
Their fellow traveler excitedly raises his hand, briefly blocking Yenisei's gaze from Besmet. The girl takes advantage of the situation and withdraws the words she cannot say. She only gently shakes her head.
Nothing. Let's move.
It's interesting, so the river had shown them where the city was, which now they can see. But since the return of the river, the storyteller said that more foreigners are coming in to visit Pei City for the festivals. So how do other people find Pei City if something in the terrain has changed? Or since they themselves cannot see the city anymore? Was it a lie? Was it an illusion?
The compass is working, which means we can rely on the map again.
Oh, that's good. As for the book I'm going to write,
Yes? Have you decided the title?
yes, I will call it Notes on Shuori.
Notes on Shuori. Yes, that's the title.
She flips over a page and continues reading.
The title is actually not a good choice for a book on geographical discoveries. On one hand, there is no doubt that Shuori is a difficult word for the target readers of this book. On the other hand, the word notes, in most cases, is used to describe the collections of informal essays. They usually record the daily talks of professional writers, and thus include a variety of ideas and inspirations. As a geographer, however, I don't possess enough knowledge of literature to write the real notes, nor does the assistant who takes dictations from me, unfortunately. Even so, we have decided to use these words for the title. Postscript. The title has also been included in the first draft we sent to the editors of Motherland Documentary and the Department of Publication Review. The next page is missing. Let me see. Oh, found it. June 4. Sunny. I never knew the journey back to Omsk would take so long. My assistant and I set off from Yekaterinburg last year, and we didn't arrive until now. In Omsk, we met the governor again. I left him some drafts of this book in return for the help from the local Scientific Research Association. Those drafts have recorded the steppe ecosystem around the Om River in detail. For example, before we arrived in Omsk, we followed a herd of sheep across the river. The wool on their tails was apparently matted. I recorded this detail because the way they crossed the water was almost a miracle. It is known to all that sheep can be easily drowned because their thick wool holds them back in water. Yet, things seemed different for those sheep. They had been trained by the local herders and were able to cross the river swiftly, as if they were only several balls of cotton floating on the water.
When they came to the shore, I noticed that their hooves were in the shape of a round cake, with one slice missing. They climbed out of the water with their little cake hooves, shook themselves dry, and continued on to the next pasture, never hesitant to go forward, never looking back. Seeing all these, I hope I would be as determined as these sheep in my future journey. Today's article was an extract from a geographic manuscript from St. Pavlov Foundation Far East Branch, recorded by Yenisei. Next is the news broadcast.
Miss Radio?
Yes, I'm here.
What time is it now?
It's 4:15 p.m.
The nap went on a little longer than I thought.
You were listening to the story and fell asleep? Or the radio program that was talking about the story, but still?
Yes. How are you feeling?
I think I had a dream. Many animals were jumping over a broken bridge.
It's because you were listening to the story.
I read you a story which has zebras and sheep in it.
Zebras and sheep? I don't remember that.
Excuse me? Is Timekeeper in the room?
I am.
May I come in? There is something I need to confirm with you.
I'm sorry. Who's that?
It's me, Sonetto.
I might have taken too long a nap. Never mind. Please, come in.
Timekeeper, you don't look very well. Are you alright?
Just sleepy.
It's okay. I had a weird dream. What's going on?
Oh, it's a letter from the Foundation. A colleague from the Russian branch was transferred to the headquarters today. She has shown a strong willingness to perform long-term field missions.
Oh.
Thus, the headquarters intends to transfer her to the Timekeeper Squad. Would you have a meeting with her? It is said that she is experienced in geographical exploration and survival in the wilderness. She could be a great helper.
I'm surprised though that Yenisei would leave Basmet. She seems to really love being around her. So why would she leave her and their explorations to come with Vertin?
Geographical exploration? What's her name?
Please hold on. Let me check her file here. And her name is Yenisei.
Okay, so this was notes on Shuori. I'm not satisfied with how I pronounce it. Let's talk about it a little bit. I don't know if it's my natural pull towards more fairy tale stuff, but I like the story very much, and I think that it is perhaps my favorite out of everything we've done so far, or rather, everything I've done so far. Because, like I've said, I got into the game during the lake patch. I forget the name of the lake. It was Tooth Fairies patch, okay? With Blondie, Jessica, you know, Horpedia. Yeah, that was the patch I got in, and I liked it because it was Halloween themed with killers and whatnot, and there was this whole thing that happened between Blondie and Jessica being childhood friends and then coming back to the lake and Jessica going bazingas and scaring everyone with her tricks and trying to keep Blondie there. Anyway, it was good, that one, but I'm more of a supernatural horror fan, so while I liked it, I wasn't crazy for it. Then was Kala's patch, which had the atmosphere, had the music, had the whole rush to do everything before the meteor shower, whatnot, which was also an interesting patch, and I like the dynamic between Kanjira and Matilda very much, but again, not a very top experience for my taste because it had a lot of details on astronomy, which I wasn't familiar with, so it was a lot of dialogue I was just reading and didn't really understand everything, but I thought it didn't matter very much because I was supposed to follow the story, not necessarily understand every single detail mentioned in. Then we had, I believe it was 37's patch after this, it was a Greek patch, which, again, interesting. I liked it, as I said before. It was funny too. The personalities of everyone was so fun. But because it focused more on mathematics and Pythagorean theories, it still wasn't that top. It was fun, but it wasn't something super top for me. Then we had the Uluru games, which was also fun because, again, personalities were very strong, but it was very sports oriented, which is also not my thing. This one, though, this one took the game to a whole other level for me. I liked it a lot. Like, if I was to put every patch I've experienced into a list, this is number one right now, what I experienced here. A second to that, I guess, would be the Uluru games because it was the most energetic for me. Then third, I don't know which one would be the third, but like if I was to put something on top, is definitely notes on Shuori. But let's focus on the story of this patch itself. I really liked how the story started, that Yenisei was going through her notes. I like this feeling of going through the pages and then suddenly getting inside and being in the middle of nowhere. The way they took it to a more fairy tale-like way, that their team drank the water, turned into horses, and then they ended up fighting this city that after they left just disappeared like it wasn't there. Again, I've been mentioning it throughout this journey of this patch that it looks very much like Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away. Because when, I think Chihiro was her name, yeah, when Chihiro left the land she was in and looked back, there was nothing there. She couldn't go back. So now that they left and Yenisei looked back and there was nothing there, it again gave me that feeling. So yeah, I won't be surprised if at some point I found out it was inspired by that movie because it had many similarities. But yeah, it was such an experience, like, and we got to see it like from two sides because yeah, we saw it from Basmet and Yenisei's side, but through Jiu Niangzi's backstory, we can kind of see it from her side too. I like that they do these multiple POV things, like they did that with 37's patch as well. More specifically, we saw this in 6's story. We saw 6's story from his point of view, from Sophia's point of view, 37's, and 210's. I like that because that way we get more information without getting info dumped. We get to experience the same story through multiple lenses, and it's also not boring because if you think about it, if you're going to say a story from multiple POVs, some things are the same, if not for every character, for most characters. So you would expect that, for example, if they were to say, for example, in 6's story, okay, since 6 was standing in everything alone, telling the story from his side would obviously be a completely unique experience. But looking at the story from Sophia's side or 37's that they happen to spend much time together, someone could easily fall into the idea of, you know, just showing the same story, just a little different, but they didn't. Because if they showed us the story based on experiences both Sophia and 37 had with 6 at the same time, it would have been boring. But no, they took separate occasions that these two girls had with 6 and they showed us that to understand their connection or understanding of 6's situation better. Now, another thing that I'd like to point out about the story is my being fine with not getting all the answers by the end. If you've watched my previous videos, you know damn well that I like to have all my questions answered by the end of a story. This one left many things open as well, but it doesn't bother me because it was said in a way, I don't know how to describe it, but it's that type of ending that leaving things in the air gives a story some sort of allure, if I can put it that way. So it doesn't bother me, which is weird compared to everything I've said so far in previous parts of the story. However, one question does bother me, I will admit, and that is, why would Yenisei leave Besmet behind and follow Vertin now? Or rather, she was transferred, okay? She was transferred, so she didn't necessarily want to go with Vertin, but she was allocated to her. Another thing I'd like to add is that I think Yenisei's power is kind of helpful. Like, now that she's going to join Vertin, I think that in the future, her power will come in so handy for the team. I don't know exactly when and under what circumstances this is going to happen, but I think it's going to be very, very useful. Now, I will say though, I will admit, I do not really like Yenisei in battle. I like her in the story, but in battle, I wouldn't use her personally. Like, if she ever comes home to me, I don't think I'll build her. Sorry, Yenisei Nation. I know she has more than a few fans already, but yeah, she's not my type of character. Gameplay-wise, that is. As a character in the story, I liked her. I think that's all I had to say. I'm really looking forward to see if we will ever meet Jiu Niangzi in the future because she's a playable character and Gutian is also a playable character, so part of me thinks we will see them again because so far, the characters we have in this game, we do see them again and again, so I'm guessing we'll see them too. I don't think Jiu Niangzi died or anything, let's be clear. Perhaps she found her mother and stayed there, and maybe she will come back in the future to help us with something. Who knows? About the rerun of the first patch of the game, I will play it alone. I don't know, maybe some of you wondered if I was going to play it with you guys. No, I will experience it alone because the new patch is coming. I'd like to be ready for that instead of focusing on something that has already happened long ago and I'm the only one who has to catch up with it out of everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and the previous ones on this patch. Do tell me your opinion on this patch if you'd like. And what is your favorite so far? Do you have a favorite patch like me? Which one was it and why? What was that thing that made you feel, yeah, this is my kind of patch? Only do me this favor, if you know about patches in the future, you play in the CN server, and your favorite patch comes, you know, later on, please don't spoil anything for me. I'd like to experience it for the first time myself too. You can tell me if you like it, like you can tell me, oh, my favorite patch is actually, I don't know, 1.8 or something, or 1.7 that is coming up. You can tell me that, just don't give me details on why you like that patch if it hasn't come already in the global server, is what I'm trying to say. But do tell me if you like something from the future. Anyway, this is reverse. Every single one of us might be living in a different timeline here, right? I thought that was very cool, by the way, that because one server is ahead of others, it really feels like we're in different timelines. It suits the atmosphere of the game. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please do consider liking and subscribing if you liked what you saw, and if you want to see more from me, I'd really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!